Hello everyone, this is Christian Duque from StrengthAddicts.com. I'm here in Boynton Beach, Florida with Mr. Universe, your 1990 light heavyweight and overall nationals winner, Mr. ALQ GURLEY. ALQ, how are you today?
Cool, everything's good, Christian. How you doing? It's ALQ.
Awesome, awesome. It's terrible weather here. I've been here since last Thursday. Haven't seen the sun a single time in the Sunshine State. But
it rains every day in Florida, man. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, you know,
hurricane season.
Yeah, I always start out the interviews with the cheesy question, the sort of the canned question, but everybody has a different response, especially you, I would think, because you got involved with weight training and bodybuilding at a time where, you know, it wasn't really popular at all. You, in fact, had mentioned about, you know, even taking some abuse in your neighborhood for doing it, you know what I mean, with your friends, because they maybe didn't understand. So tell me what got you involved with weight training, and then, of course, who or what inspired you to want to compete on a stage?
Wow, you're going way back. I mean, I'm dipping back into the 70s now. Just starting out, again, like you said, it wasn't the type of thing that was popular because it was always seen as like, you guys are freaks. And, you know, when they saw Arnold Schwarzenegger for the first time, he had, you know, the posing trunks on. There was a stigma to that.
Right.
So it was seen, when you were growing up around the way in the hood, it was seen as not cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was accused of being, you know, mouth almighty, this dude, you know, all you muscles, that's all you're about, that's all you can do. But the thing that got me over was I was always athletic. Played football, played baseball, ran track. So again, if you're from around the way in the hood, having athletic prowess was always a good thing. So bodybuilding, like I said, in that time period, wasn't seen as popular or a good thing, but it was the type of thing where you knew that it could improve you.
Absolutely.
Anybody who was in that at the time, they were ahead of their time. And it just so happened that growing up in that time in Philly, there were small gyms.
Right.
LA Fitnesses and all that stuff did not exist.
Right.
So you had the YMCA gyms, you had the little corner gyms, you had the little neighborhood gyms, and there were always a handful of dudes who were in there grinding, banging, the old iron weights, the old chain link machines, the stuff that you don't even see anymore.
Yeah.
Stuff that wasn't smooth, it wasn't easy, it was the hard grunge dungeon stuff.
Sure.
And I had the opportunity of hanging. I used to hang out in the gym. So I would get in there and they would say, yo, little man, you know, you look like you got some shape, you know, you got some wings. That's what they would call lats.
Right.
You got some wings going on. All you got to do is start, you know, eating and come in here and, you know, and work out. You might do something.
Yeah.
So I would, you know, come in and you know, mess around on the machines and watch the big guys who were really good. 76, I was what, 14 years old? Sure. So 76, 78, 80. Now I'm starting to, you know, get a little bit more interested and into it. And it was never my intention to compete. But I wanted to be in shape. I wanted to look good because I always liked the guys in, you know, neighborhood who were like, you know, built.
Right.
Everybody wanted to be built because if you're built, you're more attractive to the women.
Absolutely.
And then growing up in the neighborhood, you know, you got to be popular with the women.
Exactly. Now, your road to the Nationals was an unusual one because it was so short. You told me you did a very small show in California. You did a show in Philadelphia. Actually, no, one in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, Pennsylvania,
one in New Jersey, a small one in California. Then you go to the '89 Nationals, was that right?
Correct.
And you lost by a point.
Point to Franco Santoriello, yeah. First go around at the NPC Nationals.
But from talking to you, you're okay with that defeat because you sort of...
Obviously, you know, as a competitor, I wanted to win.
Sure.
And I thought I won. But in retrospect, when I look at it, I was in better condition than Franco, but Franco was thicker, more seasoned, and he came off as being just more polished and more composed. And I see that when I look at those videos. You know, yeah, this guy is, you know, kind of, you know, I'm talking to myself, muscular, good conditioning, sharp, and cut.
Right.
But Franco had size and he was cut. So I knew at that time, as good as I thought I was, I know I needed more. So coming behind him at one point, you know, wasn't, I didn't look at it as a loss. I put myself on the map.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
Everybody, at that time in Miami, it was at the Fountain Blue. Everybody's looking at it and it's like, yo, who's that dude?
Exactly.
And that's what got the ball rolling.
And also the fact that you didn't do junior nationals. I mean, you went straight for the big show.
It was always my thought process to go straight for the #1 show, because I always looked at the junior nationals or the
Junior USAs.
Junior USA or even the North America as an intermediate step. So my thought process is why do that? Just go straight where the competition is, and if you can stack up against that group of guys, then you belong.
Yeah, I got to tell you, the North American is like amazing now, though. I love it because you got, Canada, Mexico, United States, a phenomenal show. But the Nationals back in those days and the USA's was it.
That was it.
And then in 1990, you went in, you won the light heavies, and you won the whole thing. So what did you do that year to get ready for that 1990? Was it a huge difference in '89, or did you just kind of keep it consistent and tighten it up a little bit more?
It was a dramatic change, because the '89 show was basically a barometer to see where I was.
Right.
You think you're good, and you got to look, and of course in Philadelphia, you're prominent there, but when you open yourself up to the rest of the country, how do you stack up?
Exactly.
So then I got a good idea as to where I stood. I'm like, okay, wow, you missed the whole thing by 1 point. So the training intensified, became a lot more diligent with the nutrition, and really concentrated on putting on significant quality size. So everything that goes along with that kicked in.
Right, but but size within the proportion, within the framework of a light heavyweight, which...
Yeah, the thing was to be as big a light heavyweight as you could possibly be. And the thing that we concentrated on was to come in at the top of the scale.
Okay.
I never really believed in dieting down to the show. My whole premise was eat up to the show.
And there's something about the lighter classes, light, heavyweight, middleweight, even the bantamweights, even going down real light, where the competition, the depth is always a lot more so, I would say, than heavyweight. Heavyweight, super heavyweight. I don't even know if they used super heavyweight back then. Yeah, but they're usually like more like Ophi looking. When you have the lighter weight guys, even in boxing, same thing too. They're animals. I mean, they fight like crazy in the light heavyweights. Whereas the heavyweights are just wrestling too. Wrestling is the same way too. The lighter, the more intense the competition. I don't know why, but
I mean, no disrespect to the
of course,
bigger dudes, because we all aspire to be big.
Sure.
But I always said that the class of the NPC Nationals was the light heavyweight division.
Sure.
Sean Ray, Vince Taylor, myself. We had Flex Wheelers, all those cats. Kevin Leverone at the time, he was a heavyweight because he came the year after me.
Yeah.
But it's always in that range, the 5'7", 5'8" guys, 5'9", 5'10",
right,
and then 215, 220 pounds, and of course as time was going on, they got heavier.
Sure.
But when you put that frame with that amount of muscle and that body weight, it's like what you call the Goldilocks zone.
Now, interestingly enough, you're a big Sean Ray fan. But Lonnie Tieper, Lonnie Tieper had said, Lonnie Tieper had said that he believes that once you won in 1990, that Bill Reynolds had written that you were the greatest national champion of all time, and he wanted to know what you thought about, when you saw that in print, knowing, that other champions like Mike Christian had come before you and Bob Harris.
Hell of an endorsement, but I always felt honestly that when I saw Sean win it in '87, the way he did it, the way he impacted the stage, the posing, the routine, everything, and the overall finish and polish of the look, I always saw Sean as the marquee of bodybuilders. Sure. I always thought that he was the greatest NFC football. NPC champion.
Or NPC, right, exactly.
NPC
exactly.
Also Vince Taylor, because Vince Taylor brought a certain level with his posing of elegance to it. I always thought the transitional style posing, which they labeled it, was so smooth and so cool. Nobody else was moving like that. Nobody else posed like that. So those guys, you can really, circle them as the ones who are the greatest. Again, if Bill Reynolds saw me as that, I think that was the magic of the moment type thing. You know, it was the new flavor of the month,
Right.
flavor of the moment. So yeah, I got the endorsement. I'm not going to knock it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For
But,
sure.
You know,
And then,
as far as being the greatest, I'm not going to take. I can't take that crown.
okay. And now Peter McGuff also wanted me to ask you that right after you had won the 1990s Nationals, he said the first time he met you was at a sort of a bizarre but very cool competition between the 8 Nationals winners from America versus the 8 national winners of the United Kingdom. And you had a story about that as well that you maybe want to share. Something about some chicken, I don't know. But what were your thoughts about that show?
I thought it was a bizarre show. That I didn't see what point it would make, because it was more of an exhibition than it was a competition in the
Sure.
show. And when we went over there, of course, those guys are home. So
Yeah.
they've got, you know, home cooking. They're, you know, got everything set up for them. But the food that they had set up for us was chicken, and it was loaded with salt.
Okay.
We're like, can't eat this because, you know, you're going to start loading up with sodium and you smooth out and you all filled up with water.
Sure.
So it was a pretty bad situation. I mean, everybody always, you know, and again, nothing but love for the UK, England,
Right.
and whatnot. Cool people, enjoyed it. But the food at the time, I remember I'm going back to 1990.
Yeah.
It wasn't on point. And that
Right.
was a serious handicap.
For sure, for sure. Now in those days, I mean, you know, we talked off camera a little bit. I mean, you had it made. I mean, a lot of the pros had it made in the sense that you were treated like real professional athletes, which you are. And you were saying that in Europe and places that you guest posed, you know, you were doing very well financially. A lot of fans would turn out. You had the Mr. Universe title. You had the Nationals title. What was it like in those days? I mean, what was it like doing expos and seminars and, you know, going around the world?
Bodybuilding at that time, I mean, we were riding a serious wave because in Europe, a lot of the American champions had rock star status.
Sure.
Your reputation preceded you. You know, you're coming across, you know, the pond and everybody wants to see you. So this is the person who they've seen in the magazine. So now they get to see you live and in living color.
Right.
And it was really the first time you tasted stardom. And it was a great feeling. The promoters, the gym owners, the fans themselves, we were treated very well. One of the reasons I did so well is because I not only did the shows, but I did exhibitions, seminars, and I also did training at gyms.
Sure.
So I would do like a training exhibition seminar at the gym.
Yep.
And, you know, tell everybody about, you know, techniques and some of the inside stuff, which
Sure.
a lot of the fans and, you know, who are into it really dig, because that's what it's all about.
Right.
You know, you want to hear something from somebody who you've read about at the time. This is way before social media and,
Of course.
and all that stuff. We weren't on TV. Well, we were on TV, but not like it is now with
Yeah.
social media. You get to see these cats whenever. On demand.
Exactly, yeah.
On demand. But back then, you had to wait. You had to wait for magazines. So when you got a chance to, you know, see somebody at the gym, oh, they would turn out.
Right.
And you didn't want to disappoint. So you gave the fans the real inside scoop. And
Now-
it was cool.
Oh, of course. Now, what's interesting is that a lot of people, you know, they just assume that, you know, the lucrative supplement contracts that we have today, you know, have been around, you know, for time immemorial.
That stuff didn't exist. I never got one. I mean, I think I was one of those guys because I was outspoken and somewhat, I'll just say, a truth teller, that I wasn't always looked upon in a favorable light.
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you what's what. Again, coming from Philly, the thing was, you know, yo, man, don't talk about it, be about it. Stop bullshit. That's what I'm saying, stop bullshit. You know, just say what's up. Because people, when people see you as being authentic and real, people dial into you more. But if you're just going to toe the company line,
Sure.
and you're a yes man or a company man, quite honestly, that's bullshit. But that's what money and contracts are about.
Of course.
I mean, I did a seminar, and I remember, I'm not going to name names, but there were some weeder people in the audience.
Yeah.
And I just trashed, you know, some of the supplements and drinks and stuff that were in the, you know, that a lot of the gyms have in their
Sure.
in the refrigerators and whatnot. And I'm like, that stuff is BS. You don't want to do that. You gotta do the things that are necessary and that you can do yourself.
For sure.
But if you're drinking all these colored flavored drinks, what is that? That's just you're making money for these companies that don't really give a damn.
Right.
And that's for all intents and purposes. Again, this is not to smash the supplement industry, but it's also known that the supplement industry is a multi-billion-dollar ripoff. Most of the stuff that's on the market, you can't even utilize it. Your body, whatever your body can't utilize, what does it do? It throws it off.
Exactly.
So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's on the shelf that people are pumping into their bodies, and you got the most expensive urine on the block.
I was just thinking that exactly.
That's all it is. And I'm about to go down a rabbit hole right now. It's the same thing that goes with the supermarket. The stuff that's in the supermarket, the good stuff, the stuff that you should be doing, you should be eating, is on the perimeter. When you start going up and down those aisles, it's nothing but crap and junk. And when you get to the checkout line, you get to the cashier, look at everybody's cart. What's in those carts?
That's a good point, yeah.
Because they conditioned you to get this stuff, that they're appealing to your taste buds and, whatever. They are not interested in your health. They could care less about your health. But if you start really getting into the way you should be taking care of yourself and what you really need to do to make the changes, it's on the perimeter.
I've never thought of that. The aisles, really don't have anything done. The produce is out there, the meat's out there, it's the aisles.
Supermarkets are set up psychologically.
And then the checkout lanes, all that crap they sell by the registers.
Yeah, and all the impulse buys.
Yeah, exactly.
Little flashing lights, little coupons that pop out.
And stuff you don't need.
You don't need, but that's the thing. Oh, okay, a magazine, you ain't gonna look at it.
Yeah, man needs car, exactly.
It's there, but you're like, hey, why not? Impulse buys.
For sure. Now talk to us, if you could, what was it like? I know you competed on the Mr. Olympia stage twice. What was it like? And one of the times I believe you placed top 10, which is awesome. What was that like? I mean, of course, the Nationals is huge. Competing, in the United Kingdom is huge. What was the Olympia stage like for you?
The Olympia stage is like, the analogy that I always made is like going from the college to the pros. And you're going up against guys who are seasoned competitors, who are very accomplished. They got a lot of gamesmanship, a lot of showmanship, and you, for the first time out the box, first time out the gate, if you're not ready for it, it's not intimidating. I wasn't intimidated, but you start to realize, like, wow, I'm not ready.
Right.
Even though you prepared and you prepped and you've done everything that you're supposed to do, and you come to the show in shape, you need more time. Ronnie Coleman can tell you that. Sean Raven said, all of them will tell you. The first time out the box, it's like, yo.
Yeah.
You're going up against Lee Haney, Lee Labrada. I'm talking about back then, the names. And that lineup was stacked.
Yeah.
It was 8, 9, 10 deep before, you can even here. Like, I'd like to,
right.
Everybody know I'm here.
Yeah.
And either whether you were the national champion winner or the universe champion
That's
winner.
probably a very humbling experience.
Oh, very, very much so. I remember being on stage with Dorian Yates, Lee Labrada, Kevin Leverone. Wow.
And really, you were like, you turned pro at 90, so you were right there on the tail end of Haney. You got to see Haney, and you said, he kind of took you under his wing a little bit.
Lee Haney took me under his wing. He's like a big brother. He was one of the first guys who helped me arrange my contracts.
Yep.
I was fortunate enough to do a
tour?
A tour, an exhibition and seminar with him over in Hungary.
Okay.
And we got a chance to train legs together. I'll never forget it. Took me aside and just, say, ow. You gotta armor yourself with God. Don't get caught up with all this stuff that's out here.
Yeah.
You gotta keep your head focused, maintain your focus, and take care of business. And he used to always just be very direct and very made very poignant statements. Very poignant and sincere statements. It was always a pleasure just to sit there and listen, because you knew you were getting a lot of knowledge. He was dropping a lot of knowledge and a lot of science on you. And as long as you listened, it all made sense. Anytime I've seen Lee at any of the shows, the Arnold Classic, any place where I've out and I've had to cross paths with him, he's always embraced me and treated me like, a brother. And
that's awesome.
It's always cool. I mean, I get the goosebumps. I'm talking about it now. It's like, it's always good memories, really good memories.
That's awesome. So you were on the tail end of Lee Haney, and then your career was really, I think, in full force for the Dorian Yates reign. So
yeah, Dorian was the brick wall that, there's always some competitors out there, regardless of how good you are and how strongly you feel about yourself and level of confidence, because bodybuilding is subjective, you're not going to beat them.
right,
You might be able to pick out things critically, objectively and whatnot, but because this individual has the aura, the image, and the place and the placing, hey,
right,
it's just not going to happen. So
yeah,
there's a pecking order and an echelon that you have to contend with.
yeah. He has told me in the past that he believes that in 1997 Nasser could have beaten him. He actually thought Nasser beat him in 97. Do you think Sean Ray ever beat him in your eyes?
I think Sean Ray outclassed him. Outclassed him as far as his finish, his look. But again, that's me being subjective.
Exactly, right.
I'm a guy who I go for the more aesthetic, the more symmetrical bodybuilders.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you remember who Roy Liedlmeyer was.
Of course, yeah.
Fantastic.
Of
I
course,
thought he had
yeah.
one of the best physiques of all time. Some of those poses and pictures that he had,
Yeah.
like, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
Then you have Bob Paris.
Yeah.
Bob wasn't a mass monster, but when you looked at Bob's symmetry, the posing, the way he presented himself, everything, classic.
Absolutely.
Even Flex Wheeler.
What are your thoughts? I put you on the spot. What are your thoughts of Gary Stridham, though?
Gary, I always felt, was a little bit, I don't want to say overrated, but
Yeah.
he had a lot of buzz. Looked good from the front.
No back.
I would always say, turn him around.
Yeah.
And this is where we are as bodybuilders
Yeah.
and IFBB pros, and you get really, not just subjective, but objective.
Yeah.
And you really start breaking it down. I look at people as far as muscle groups and symmetry and balance and proportion, how well you're put together.
Sure.
How well it flows on your frame.
Sure.
And if you can put it all together,
Yeah.
front, back, left, right, top to bottom, that's how it's done.
Sure.
And then be symmetrical, balanced, proportion. You gotta have the tan right.
Yeah.
Everything's gotta
Everything.
be
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I'll give you the nod.
Right.
But if something's off because it's that ticky-tacky and that critical, like, good but no.
Sure. And if anyone has the right to bring up the subjective point, it's you. I mean, that '89 Nationals. I mean, you lost by 1 point, and you came back the next year and won it. I mean, a lot of people they lose by a point, you never see them again. They'll just quit or they'll go to another federation. You
I
didn't
knew
do that.
at that point, I knew I belonged. So I made it a point to put myself amongst people and around people who were in it. Made my little pilgrimage and trip out to LA and, trained in the Mecca Golds.
Sure.
I had a couple of friends out there who I would train with, so I put myself in that atmosphere and I hyped myself up.
Yeah. Let me ask you one quick question, though. You did go out there, you did visit, you did train, but you didn't join the clique, though, right? You didn't.
I'm an East Coast dude.
You're an East Coast dude.
I'm East Coast. I mean, as California's cool, I like going out to Cali and hanging out there and doing that thing, but honestly, I can do Cali for about a week, and then it's time to go. 'Cause,
All right.
I mean, being from Philly, my experience has always been Philly, New York,
Yeah.
DC, and if I want the feel and the weather, when I come down here to Miami.
Right. Now,
What's
yeah.
up?
Now I got to ask you that last. Now Lonnie Tieber had asked you about the 212, and you had told me that the height alone would have not been a good.
I had to take myself out that equation.
Right.
212 pounds. One, I would have been too light. Two, I'm too tall. I'm at 5'9.5", 5'10".
Yeah, it's too much.
Too tall. So the proportions and everything. I'm standing beside these little guys.
Right, shorter guys. Yeah.
A lot of muscle,
No,
a lot
definitely.
of quality muscle.
Definitely.
I mean, it doesn't look, because I remember competing against some cool dude. Never really had a conversation with him, but I thought he was really cool dude, kind of kept to himself at that time because, again, we were competitors. Lee Priest,
Yeah.
phenomenal. I used
Yeah.
to look at this dude's arms, and then who's the other guy? Steve Brisbois.
Yeah.
Steve, phenomenal arms.
Yeah.
And in his
Lee Priest,
frame.
they say, has like one of the best arms in the business.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, he does. I
Yeah.
mean, by far,
But he's
without question.
like 5'4" or
He's
something like
5'5".
5'5" maybe something.
But I mean, his physique, his look, the way he would come off. I mean, he was like a little tank.
Yeah.
You remember John Sherman?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, tremendous build, but I like the way they look, but again, I'm not that.
Well, even
that's
Sean Ray's not that tall either.
Sean's what, 5'6"?
Yeah,
5'7" at best.
So we'll throw water right on that. But now, Lonnie also wanted to ask you. He had said he had named you, I think, the Dilly from Philly, and he wanted to know why you moved to South Florida, because he seems to believe that it's because the 76ers at the time sucked and the Eagles did as well. So he wanted to know if there's any truth to that.
And to Lonnie, and you know me, Lonnie, I'm always going to be a Philly fan, die hard. Whether they suck, whether they're at the tip of the top, and yes, the Phillies won. The Sixers, they did it back in '83. The Eagles haven't gotten there yet, but that's okay. I'm always going to be from Philly. I love it down here in South Florida. One, the weather. You can't beat it.
Except for today, but yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Except for the day, but
yeah.
it's going to be.
But overall, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, you cannot beat it. You can't beat it. I mean, Miami is where it's at. South Florida is where it's at. Everybody knows.
Absolutely.
Everybody comes here.
Yeah,
and
they come here and they never leave. So yeah, it's perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's perfect. So just in closing, what are you up to these days? You know, I have said that I really think you should do an ebook or a book of some sort. I think, you know, tell your story and definitely share this knowledge. I mean, you look phenomenal. You look huge.
I'm hanging.
Yeah. And you look young too. So I am very young. So what are you up to these days? And you know, would you ever consider writing like a book, an ebook, or doing some seminars? Or
a lot of people have pressed me about that, and a couple of my friends down here are pissed at me because he's like, yo man, you got the name, you got this, you got that, but you're not capitalizing off of it. You even mentioned it, you brought it to my attention. Another guy who's a good friend of mine, Will Brink, he wants to do some stuff. I think you guys are going to draw me back in.
Yeah.
When I stepped away from it because of the injury, I kind of divorced myself from the sport and the industry because that's a lot of personal sentiment, because it's a streak that runs pretty deep because of the injury, the knees, and I had to walk away. And I did it at such a time, probably it was the best thing for me, and it probably saved my life, because I was the type of guy who I wanted to win so bad, and I wasn't going to stop until I got a win. And I injured myself a few weeks before the Night of Champions, which I thought at the time I was going to win. I thought I was definitely going to win, but it is something that I'm definitely going to consider, but I have to surround myself with the right people to do it.
Because I think, you know, a comeback would be good, like hitting the stage and all that. But I think it would be. But I think the real power, honestly, is in imparting the knowledge. Because right now, you know, there's so many of these like quote unquote YouTube stars and social media stars, and a lot of them, you know, they're like 120 pounds of wet clothes on, and they don't know anything about lifting, but they have the numbers. So, you know, they'll put out a lot of bad information, and especially for us guys, you know, like shoulders, for example, they're like one of the most injury-prone body parts. You know, and these kids are hurting themselves, or they're lifting like crazy. They're taking 10, 20 grams of creatine every day. Their kidneys are about to drop out of their body. So honestly, the reality is that the knowledge that you have would, you know, really, you know, be a great benefit to them.
The number one tip that I give people who I've worked out with, trained with, or whatever, and everybody scoffs at me when I say this. It's like, less is more.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go to the top of the scale.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I'm like, yo, if you think of it as a car.
Yeah.
If you got 5 or 6 gears, and if you start out and you're in 6th gear, where are you gonna go?
Exactly.
There's nowhere else to go.
And sometimes you don't even need, like, you know, just monstrous. I mean, like, even I think even back in the day, and even today, you know, when Lee Haney was doing T-bar rows with the 25 plates, you know, some of these guys that want to show off in the gym, you know, they want chains and 45. I mean, they would never do that. But the thing is, Lee Haney's physique, I mean, shuts everyone up, you know.
At my best, I mean, when I see guys putting 45-pound plates on the Olympic bar and doing curls, I'm like,
bicep tear city,
I walk away, I'm like, yo, man, they're not going to tear their biceps because they're not even using their biceps.
Right.
It's pelvic.
Oh yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's that.
Exactly.
So if you're going to do a bicep curl and do it properly, I mean, there's a little bit of a forward lean.
Sure.
There's the extension.
Sure.
You know, I always talk about 3/4 extension rather than doing locking out, because you never lock out on you. You don't want to put any stress on your joints and whatnot. But I've gotten to the point where I don't correct anybody anymore.
Right.
Because people would just look at me.
Yeah.
And because of this younger generation, they don't know who I am. I
Right.
can't say who I am.
Right. And you shouldn't have to pull out your cell phone and be like, I did the Mr. Olympia, got top 10, I won the national. Yeah,
I
it's
had
like,
a girl walk up to me and ask me why I was doing squats on a Smith machine. Because you can't do that, and that's not right, and what you're doing, and that's wrong, because you're back. And I'm like, my back? I said, that's the very reason you want to use a Smith machine.
Right.
It takes the stress off your back and allows you to target.
yeah.
And she went on and on. I'm like, wow.
It's like the lights are on, but no one's home. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not going to body shame anybody.
Sure.
But she was.
Yeah.
No. Really?
Exactly. Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And I just like, tell you what, you do what you do, I'm going to do this, and let's compare notes in 6 months.
Exactly.
See where you're at, and we'll see where I'm at.
Exactly.
And that's pretty much how you have to approach it, because otherwise everybody's got YouTube and Google and
Oh, yeah,
everything
no,
now,
for sure.
so they know.
Yeah.
I only been doing this for how long?
Right.
So
Exactly.
look at
And you're still in insane shape. So yeah, insane shape. Well, anyways,
Not bad for an old guy.
not at all. Not at all. Not an old guy, but not bad at all. So I really want to thank you for doing this interview, and I really hope we can
Thank
bring you
you. I
back in
appreciate you
and
for,
doing some books and such, because really, honestly, I mean, you have so much knowledge and great career, and there's still so much more left to be done. So thank you very much.
It was fun.